Welcome to Daily Brief YouTube channel. Putin's decision to invade, which does not suit the 21st century, continues to receive reactions from the world. Russian troops bore down on Ukraine's capital Friday, with gunfire and explosions resonating ever closer to the government quarter, in an invasion of a democratic country that has fueled fears of wider war in Europe and triggered worldwide efforts to make Russia stop. With reports of hundreds of casualties from the warfare, including shelling that sliced through a Kyiv apartment building and pummeled bridges and schools, there also were growing signs that Vladimir Putin's Russia may be seeking to overthrow Ukraine's government. It would be his boldest effort yet to redraw the world map and revive Moscow's Cold War-era influence. While Europe and the North Atlantic Alliance put more diplomatic sanctions at the forefront yesterday, military options have started to be discussed today. Speaking after the NATO leaders' meeting, Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg announced that they will send more ammunition to Ukraine, including air defense systems that can shoot down Russian planes. According to the information shared by local sources, many military vehicles entered Ukraine from Poland. Military shipments from NATO to Ukraine are expected to continue by land, as Russian planes threaten Ukrainian airspace. However, this may change if strong air defense systems are installed in Ukraine. For now, the Ukrainian army is resisting Russia well, and this will make Putin's job more difficult with each passing day. It is noteworthy that the allegations of overland shipments from Poland to Ukraine coincided with the U.S. announcement that it was sending new troops to Poland. It is emphasized that U.S. soldiers will not fight in Ukraine, but it is also a possibility that military companies or special forces may provide support through the back doors. Day 2 of Russia's invasion, the largest ground war in Europe since World War II, focused on the Ukrainian capital, where Associated Press reporters heard explosions starting before dawn and gunfire was reported in several areas. Russia's military said it had seized a strategic airport outside Kyiv, allowing it to quickly build up forces to take the capital. It claimed to have already cut the city off from the west, the direction taken by many of those escaping the invasion, leading to lines of cars snaking toward the Polish border. Russia's defense ministry claimed to have blocked off the cities of Sumy and Konotop and that the offensive had claimed dozens of Ukrainian military assets. The statement could not be independently confirmed. Intense gunfire broke out on a bridge across the Dnieper River dividing eastern and western Kyiv, with about 200 Ukrainian forces taking defensive positions and sheltering behind their armored vehicles and under the bridge. Another key bridge leading to the capital was blown away, with smoke rising from it. A U.S. defense official said a Russian amphibious assault was underway, and thousands of Russian naval infantry were moving ashore from the Sea of Azov, west of Mariupol. The official said Ukrainian air defenses have been degraded but are still operating, and that about a third of the combat power that Russia had massed around Ukraine is now in the country. All told, the official estimated Russia had fired more than 200 missiles into Ukraine, with some hitting residential areas. A senior American intelligence official with direct knowledge of current intelligence assessments told the AP that Russian armor is 50 kilometers, 31 miles, to both the north and west of Kyiv. The statements of the U.S. officials speaking to Reuters also reveal that Russia is not as successful as it seems. US official says Russian forces have not taken any population centers in Ukraine, do not have air superiority over Ukraine yet. So how does the North Atlantic Alliance respond to Russia? No one should be fooled by the Russian government's barrage of lies, 30 leaders of alliance say in a statement. NATO will deploy more troops to Eastern Europe after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the alliance's leaders have announced. No one should be fooled by the Russian government's barrage of lies, the 30 leaders said in a joint statement after a virtual summit chaired by Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg. We are now making significant additional defensive deployments of forces to the eastern part of the alliance, the statement said. Mr. Stoltenberg said NATO would deploy elements of its response force, to respond quickly to any contingency, as well as continue sending weapons to Ukraine, including air defenses. He warned Russia's invasion was the gravest threat to Euro-Atlantic security in decades. He said, Russia has shattered peace in Europe. The people of Ukraine are fighting for their freedom in the face of Russia's unprovoked invasion. We deplore the tragic loss of life, enormous human suffering and destruction. He added, we call on Russia to stop this senseless war, immediately cease its assaults, withdraw all its forces from Ukraine and turn back to the path of dialogue and turn away from aggression. The Kremlin's objectives are not limited to Ukraine, he warned. We are facing a new normal in European security where Russia openly contests the European security order and uses force to pursue its objectives. He said the world will hold Russia and Belarus accountable for their actions. Russia as the aggressor, Belarus as the enabler. Western leaders and the Ukrainian government claim that the first day of the Russian offensive was rather unsuccessful, while Russia denies the vast majority of casualties. The Kiev offensive, which the Russian 8th Guards Army tried with intense air support last night, also failed. The Ukrainian army announced that Russia lost more than 1,000 soldiers in just one day. In images shared from local accounts last night, despite this, it is difficult to say that Russia has achieved complete success so far. It is evaluated that the Russian army wants to achieve its goals in one day while carrying out this operation and will become more and more disadvantaged in conditions that turn into an asymmetrical war. That's why today, Russia's autocratic leader, Putin, is sending the Russian army to seize Mariupol and Kiev while making statements to sit at the negotiating table. However, the Ukrainian army retreats to the country in a controlled manner and ambushes and hits the Russian army. According to images shared from local accounts, Russian tanks are advancing towards the Mariupol region. In another image, Russian troops cross Pryazovsky on the way to Berdyansk. According to Russian-backed local accounts, a large column of the Ukrainian army was destroyed near Kherson, Oleshki. There are terrible rocket attacks on Kiev. Our capital last experienced something like this when it attacked Nazi Germany in 1941. Ukraine has defeated this evil and will defeat it, said the Ukrainian foreign minister. The Ukrainian army also made a statement warning the people to be ready for an asymmetrical war. Army, let us know the movements of the enemy troops. Prepare Molotov cocktails and destroy the invaders. In the statement made by the British Ministry of Defense, it was reported that the Russian army could not reach any target in Ukraine. The Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on the other hand, threatens other countries that may become NATO members, referring to what they did in Ukraine. If Sweden and Finland join NATO, Russia will respond, said the Russian Foreign Ministry. Experts assess that NATO's condoning the invasion of Ukraine has encouraged Russia. Putin also made statements urging the Ukrainian army to stage a coup. Addressing the Ukrainian army, Putin said, "Take the power in your hands, we will agree with you more easily." Putin, Moscow does not expect a deal with a gang of drug addicts and neo-Nazis who settled in Kiev and took all Ukrainians hostage, I said. Russian President Putin called directly to the army, not to the people of Ukraine, and asked them to stage a coup. Putin, who previously asked the Ukrainian people to stage a coup, did not find what he expected. The failure of the Russian army to advance at the expected pace may have forced Putin to consider plans B and C. There is a possibility that China, which Russia sees as a close ally, will also oppose this invasion. Putin said that Russia is ready for high-level negotiations with Ukraine. It was stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin made this statement during a phone conversation with the leader of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping. The US and other global powers slapped ever tougher sanctions on Russia as the invasion reverberated through the world's economy and energy supplies, threatening to further hit ordinary households. UN officials said millions could flee Ukraine. Sports leagues moved to punish Russia on global playing fields. Ukrainian officials reported at least 137 deaths on their side and claimed hundreds on the Russian one. Russian authorities released no casualty figures, and it was not possible to verify the tolls. UN officials reported 25 civilian deaths, mostly from shelling and airstrikes, and said that 100,000 people were believed to have left their homes, estimating up to 4 million could flee if the fighting escalates. When bombs fall on Kyiv, it happens in Europe, not just in Ukraine, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said, pleading for Western assistance. When missiles kill our people, they kill all Europeans. His whereabouts were kept secret after telling European leaders in a call Thursday night that he was Russia's #1 target, and that they might not see him again alive. His office later released a video of him standing with senior aides outside the presidential office, saying he and other government officials would stay in the capital. All of us are here protecting our independence of our country, Zelensky said. And it will continue to be this way. Glory to our defenders, glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.
Zelensky offered to negotiate on a key Putin demand, that Ukraine declare itself neutral and abandon its ambition of joining NATO.
The Kremlin initially said it was ready to send a delegation to Belarus, then later backpedaled, saying it preferred to meet in Warsaw.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov suggested it was too late, saying Zelensky should have agreed to talks earlier on.
The assault was anticipated for weeks by the US and Western allies and denied to be in the works just as long by Putin. He argued the West left him with no other choice by refusing to negotiate Russia's security demands. In a window into how the increasingly isolated Putin views Ukraine and its leadership, he gave a strongly worded statement Friday urging the Ukrainian military to surrender, saying, "We would find it easier to agree with you than with that gang of drug addicts and neo-Nazis who have holed up in Kyiv and have taken the entire Ukrainian people hostage." Playing on Russian nostalgia for World War II heroism, the Kremlin equates members of Ukrainian right-wing groups with neo-Nazis. Zelensky, who is Jewish, angrily dismisses those claims. The autocratic leader hasn't disclosed his ultimate plans for Ukraine. Lavrov gave a hint, saying Friday, "We want to allow the Ukrainian people to determine its own fate." Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia recognizes Zelensky as the president, but wouldn't say how long the Russian military operation could last.